Hey, can you believe it? Module 3 already. How time flies. I regularly start out my face to face classes by saying that much of what we're going to learn is nothing that you don't already know. Instead, what we're going to do is practice stepping back from what we know and considering what it really means. I think that that's what we've been doing so far in this class, talking about the ideals of American society, ones which we have been enculturated into believing are right. And then we try to reconcile these desired ideals with the reality of our past and our present. And we've talked about our pride in proclaiming freedom, and we've tried to balance that with inconsistencies which we see have severely impeded the freedom and individuality of many. We've talked about a society where we're all equals, but we've had to bring that into line with the fact that the American dream really only makes sense if we posit the truth that the definition of success depends largely on an image of upward mobility in class. And so we find another paradox. This week we return to E pluribus unum, or, well, I won't give the Latin pronunciation, but there. But instead of looking at individuals, we're going to look at originating groups. Since the U.S. is a nation of immigrants, millions who arrived here to mix with Native Americans, our history is one where culture has been created through multiple sources into a single amalgam. What I particularly want to draw your attention to is how important it is to think about how we talk about this part of our past, how the words we choose to characterize the process of cultural blending can really impact how we understand and how we encourage others to understand what's gone on. So let's start with the classical metaphor, the melting pot. When I was a boy, Schoolhouse Rock informed me about this directly. In the opening stanza of The Great American Melting Pot, they sing, "They'd heard about a country where life might let them win. They paid the fare to America, and there they melted in." And I won't apologize for not singing. You should probably thank me. It was anyway. The sense of the thing made good. It made sense to me. But then I was a white middle class kid. I was part of the dominant body of this society, the one which others were asked to conform to. So in the first line from that, it has the evocation of the American dream and how the U.S. differs from the political and economic realities of other places. The U.S. allowed winning. We have a promise in that line, and the next line mentions the payment required in order for that promise to work out. Well, first there's actual payment, because it talks about the payment for travel, because getting to the land of the free wasn't free. Then there's the suggestion that once here, the thing to do is to melt in, which is to say, assimilate into the patterns established by the majority or forfeit the possibility of winning. At the end of that educational video, kids are encouraged to go ask their grandparents about their cultural history, and that is an awesome thing for them to do. But the fact that the assumption is that the children will have to do this only indicates the expectation that the assimilation has been completed in the past and those historical cultures have not so much contributed to the melting pot as dissolved in it. In my own area of specialization, the term cultural evolution takes on significance, and we today may also be tempted to use it when we talk about how things come together, alter one another, and then present a hybrid result. This may sound very much more even-handedly accepting than the assimilation-biased melting pot scenario. However, the history associated with applying evolutionary models to elements of culture has extended many precedents for using evolution to justify racist motifs which privilege, surprise, the dominant segments of U.S. society as the significant ones, the ones which must remain in control and must remain, excuse the word, pure. 19th century American thought on cultural evolution in a large way justified this separate but equal mentality for race relations which the nation struggled to shake off through the first half of the 20th century and which, well, the results still impede us today. So what I say is, think carefully about how you want to talk about how cultures mix, blend, or remain within the greater expanse of U.S. culture in general, and what that means. This week, we have some interesting readings, and I look forward to our talk on this topic. We also have our proposal due. I'll put up a post with my expectations on it, and I may offer an example or two as a model for what is expected. The big thing to remember is that the function of a proposal is to sell your reader on what you're offering to write. You're going to sell it as A, valid, B, interesting, and C, important. Selling is what a proposal is all about. So keep that in mind. As always, if you have questions, if you have concerns, if there's problems coming up, for God's sake, reach out to me. Call me, text me, write me, general questions forum, whatever it takes. I'll get back with you. All right? So until next week,